Welcome to the Bookish Bubble, the podcast where we burst the bubble on all things bookish, from influencer content and controversial topics to new releases.
I'm your host, Jessica, from jessicareads.books.
And I'm your host, Phoebe, from Get This Girl a Book.
And today we're going to be discussing our desert island books. So picture this. You're stuck on a desert island. You have absolutely nothing. It is you, the sea, sand, the skies. But don't worry, you are not on your own. You have 3 books with you. Don't ask how you have 3 books. You just do. You are plonked down on this island with your 3 books. What 3 books are you taking with you and why? But before we get into that, Phoebe, what are you reading at the moment and are you enjoying it?
I'm very much in kind of my romance girly era, very summer vibes at the minute.
Nice.
And I have been blitzing through all of the romance books. The one I am currently reading is Heartstrings by Ivy Fairbanks, which is her second book. Her first one was Morbidly Yours, and
I have heard of that one.
They're Irish romance. So yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, I like it. I think there's something a little bit nice about having a different location, but not so different as well. Like it's that little thing of like you can imagine some of it happening, and for a lot of it, her protagonists have come to islands, so you almost have that same experience of you don't really know the place, but you learn the place.
Oh,
so
you
I
learn
like
it with them. That's fun because I feel like a lot of romance books are set in. Well, most of them seem to be America, and maybe that's just the ones.
Oh yeah. American college. Yeah,
but I think that's probably because the big book talk famous romance authors are American. That's probably why. And there are obviously some British romances as well.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever read an Irish romance.
Yeah, I'm going through a phase at the minute of like Irish romance, Scottish romance. I'll find
the Celtic romances.
Yeah, the Celtic romances. I'll find an Isle of Man or
Cornwall.
Yeah. I'll find one in there at some point. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it at the minute, actually.
Oh, very nice.
And yourself?
So I am currently reading The Floating World by Axie O, which is the first book in her new series. I'm actually not sure what the series is called, but it was released in May. It was one of my most anticipated releases of the year because I read The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie O about a year or two ago, and I absolutely loved it. I talk regularly online about how that is such an underhyped book. I think it's criminally underrated. Yeah. So as soon as I saw that she was releasing this new series, I pre-ordered immediately. And so it is an Asian-inspired fantasy. I'm just pretty much at the beginning. I'm about 25% of the way in, and I'm loving it so far. I think the world building is great. Like, we obviously don't know that much so far, but it doesn't feel like I'm confused. Like, I'm slowly learning with the characters, they start this journey, this story. So yeah, I'm really excited. I think I'm gonna love it. I really hope I'm gonna love it because the second book is coming out in October.
You mentioned that the turnaround between the first 2 books is actually really short.
Yeah, May to October is actually crazy to have 2 books out in the same series, but I guess they must have been, written before it was sold or something like that. But yeah, it seems really high writing quality at the moment. And I've been enjoying my fantasy romantasy era this year. I feel like I'm so late to the romantasy train in particular. I pretty much only started reading romantasy this year, which how I can be on BookTok, call myself a BookToker and have not read much romantasy to this point, I don't know. So I think there is a romance element to the story. I'm not entirely sure. There might not be. I'll get back to you on that
but
one.
possibly like a romance subplot.
Maybe, I think I think it would be a romance subplot over anything else. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. It was a highly anticipated read, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it ends up being. I'd love a 5-star read. I've been in like a reading slump. I've done so many books recently, so I'm like praying for a 5-star read.
Because I feel like it's been a while since you've been like, Phoebe, this is like, you need to look at this. This is really, really good.
Yeah.
Mediocre summer kind of.
And I've had some great reads. Like I had a 4.5-star read recently, Not So Fast by Karen Booth, which is an F1 romance. I loved it, but that was almost like a diamond in the rough in the sense that like everything else I was reading around it wasn't enjoying. So I just need to find a couple of good books in a row, I think. But yeah, this one looking good so far.
Good. That's what we like to see. So when we were thinking about this, we went in 2 very different directions.
I think we have.
Yeah, as to what is a desert island book. Because for me, these are the books that would allow you to keep some form of sanity while you're on a desert island. Like for me, I was thinking pick 3 books that are pure escapism to try and make sure that you don't end up with a Wilson basketball from Castaway yelling into the void being like, I'm insane.
I've obviously not seen that film.
Yeah, no.
Just for context, I have seen absolutely nothing. Like, if you think of a TV or film, assume I've not seen it, and you're probably correct. So I'm afraid I have not seen Castaway, and I have no idea who Wilson is. But I have many questions. But anyway,
it's okay. That's a story for another day. Yeah, I was thinking desert island reading as things that would keep my sanity as I inevitably wither away.
Okay, we have definitely approached this from different angles. I approached it mostly from what is a comfort read, what am I going to enjoy, and what has great rereadability? What can I read over and over again and not get bored of? It sounds like, assumed I was going to be surviving and alive for a lot longer than you have maybe assumed.
I went full into kind of my Hunger Games survival plan of like water, food, shelter. And then I was like, water, I'm on an island. I'm inevitably going to be ending up drinking seawater.
Ooh.
Food, I can't climb a tree, so coconut's a problem. Shelter, that I could probably weave something together as like a mat, maybe.
A mat.
Yeah, like killing fish. Not a chance. I would lose my Australian citizenship.
See, whereas I'm picturing this as like a retreat. Like, and I'm still on my own, but I'm thinking like, oh, I'm lounging on the beach, I'm in a bikini, like it's beautiful weather. I've not really thought about the survival aspect because I don't think I would survive a desert island. I am a fragile soul. But I have not really considered that. In my head, I've been like, oh, this is such a nice like technology detox. I'm like, it would actually be so good for me to not be on my phone for a couple of weeks, which maybe that says more about me than anything else. But I was like, it'll be relaxing. I've got so much time to read. I can get a tan, which is a very different angle to you.
Yeah, that wasn't the angle I took at all. But I think it's good as well because it means that our books hopefully are a little bit more representative of us. And I feel like I've got a justification for each of my books.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued now to see how those different approaches have affected the books we chose. And it is also worth noting that I think we have overlapping taste in books, but we do not have the same reading taste. We do tend to read quite different books as well.
Yeah.
They kind of overlap in the romance genre the most. And you're a little bit more dark academia. I'm a bit more romance. I mean, I read a bit of everything, except apparently dark academia. I don't think I've ever read a dark academia book.
But how are we even friends? This is like, oh, okay.
But anyway, so with that, maybe it's time to get into the books. So Phoebe, what is your first choice and why?
Okay, so my first choice, I went for something that as I'm on this desert island, like the sun has set, there's no more time for reading at this point, and I can just think through all of the possible ways the story could have gone.
Okay.
That was my thought process of I'm not worrying about the growling tigers in the background or
There's
the
tigers
mosquito.
on your desert island?
Let's be honest, it's Squid Games, but make it one person. And the goal is just to survive. So I went something that is a little bit historical, very much leans into the fantasy, has a range of characters, is one of my favorite reads of all time, and very high rereadability.
Yeah.
It's, of course, The Night Circus by Aaron.
Oh, I knew. Yeah. I knew that you were going to choose that one.
Well, it's for me, I think it has so many amazing elements, and something that Erin Morgenstern does really, really well is the kind of switching between different timelines and different perspectives in a really interesting way.
Yeah.
So that would be my thing of almost, there's these really nice gaps at different point in the novel, and that would be my thing of, okay, but what actually happened in the gap? What is actually happening with the toy maker who you get like 3 chapters from his point of view? Really important to the book, but you can almost flesh out that characters a little bit more, and that would be almost my form of escapism on my desert island.
So it's quite like a multi-dimensional story.
So that was kind of my thought process as I was going into it. I feel like we were not on the same track. What is your first desert island read?
So my first one is very different. As I said, I was focusing on the rereadability and something that would keep me engaged, I wouldn't get bored of. This also might not surprise you, 'cause it's a book I've talked about so much. I think I mentioned it to you yesterday, but it is The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green.
Yes, you do love that book.
I love that book. That is one of my favorite books of all time, I think. For those who don't know, it is a collection of short essays reviewing random things in the Anthropocene, which is our current geographical period of time. So he reviews everything from Diet Dr. Pepper to the Hall of Presidents at Disneyland to grass and to the ability to Google strangers. So it is honestly the most random selection of topics.
So as you are on this desert island, you want to be thinking about grass.
Yeah, because honestly, it's the way he writes it. So he basically presents the topic, gives a bit of background to that topic, and then he goes off on a tangent,
Mhm.
which includes a story about his life that is somehow related to this topic. And it is the most beautiful writing in the world. Like,
Mhm.
I laughed, I cried, every feeling under the sun while reading this because it is so beautifully written and it's so entertaining and interesting. Like, he's such an interesting person, and the way he can link these stories, and you think he's gone off on a wild tangent, and then
Mhm.
somehow he brings it back in and its relevance to the topic, and then at the end of it he gives a rating out of 5. So I just think because there are so many different reviews, I don't know how many there are, maybe
Mhm.
about 20, 25, something like that. There's so many different topics and they're all so different. It's almost like I could read like 1 or 2 a day. It's a different topic for your mind to think about. Same way you kind of said about, like, you know, filling in the gaps, or
Yeah.
it's just a different topic. It keeps it interesting. It's not kind of one monotone story throughout. And I think that variability would be really important
Yeah.
when there's kind of nothing else to do.
Yes. And I think it says a lot about us and a lot about our friendship that in this situation, we've both gone of like, keep the mind active.
Yeah.
Like, have something in the mind, whether it's like passion or in like intellect,
Mhm.
that we are kind of coming back to.
Because I think that's so important on a desert island. Like, obviously, there are survival elements that would need to be figured out.
Oh, yeah.
Food, water. I mean, water's the number one. Obviously, you can survive without food for a while. But I
Mhm.
think if you're on your own completely on this abandoned desert island,
Yeah.
isolated, the mental toll would actually be
Yeah.
so much. And so, I mean, you know, obviously this is all for fun, whatever. But still, that was kind of something I was playing into, keeping my
Yeah.
mind active, keeping,
Mm.
I don't know, just myself engaged and not going stir crazy within 2 hours.
I think it's interesting though, because like my first pick was very much also for volume. I was thinking big book.
Yes, it's quite long, isn't it? That book?
Yeah. Whereas my second book,
Oh, you gone short.
yeah, I went really short.
Oh, interesting choice.
Yeah, I went for one of my like lesser known favorite books of all time.
Okay.
I went for something where the protagonist also experiences being deserted in the middle of a desert.
Oh, so relatability.
Yeah, but also within that, they dream of like this whole new world
Mhm.
that might be a hallucination, might not be a hallucination.
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing that goes into it. And it is a classic of all time. I read it on a plane journey once, cried. So that was my other thing. I was like, oh, it would probably be on a plane with me.
Oh, you've really figured
Yeah,
out how
I
you're getting to this.
yeah,
In
I
my
really
mind,
thought of everything that's gone wrong
yeah.
to get me to this point.
Whereas in my mind, I just like poofed into existence on this island. There was no trauma. There was no plane crash. There was nothing. I just poofed into existence, and now I'm here relaxing. We're coming from different.
Yeah, very different angles.
We're coming from very different angles. But anyway, sorry. So your second book.
Le Petit Prince.
Oh, I've never read that.
I read it first when I was 17, loved it.
Mhm.
There's something so whimsical about the world that is created by the author in that book. And I think that would be something that, even though I read it, even though it's very quick, it would be like a reprieve read for me of
Mhm.
like, it's almost, and I'm finding I kind of tend towards these almost like hopeful literature.
Yeah.
You know how there's like the millennial cool girl and sad millennial literature is like a subgenre.
Yeah.
I feel like my subgenre is almost like hopeful literature.
Okay.
No matter what the genre is, I want that almost.
Like uplifting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whimsical nature of the prose in that book, I think that would give it to me.
And what is that book about? Sorry, because I've not read that book. I'm not familiar.
I feel like I shouldn't tell you, but I do. Essentially, an Air Force pilot goes down in the middle of a desert,
Mm-hmm.
which is partly what happened to the author in real life, I think,
Oh, wow.
during World War II.
Okay.
And he goes down and then he spends essentially a series of days on the sand dunes. And on like the second day, he sees this child
Mhm.
coming across the sand dunes and they stop. And he's kind of tried to keep his mind active and he keeps doing these sketches of this thing that he was sketching as a child. And he sketched it and everyone was like, it's a snake. And he's like, it's not a snake. And there was almost that back and forth of what is it?
Yeah.
The child comes up and he says the exact same thing as what the artist was intending.
Okay.
And then it turns into a conversation and a retelling of the child's story and why have they gotten to this point. And it's beautiful artistry. It's wonderful imagery. It's a lot of what is the purpose of life, the universe and everything. It's very bohemian as well.
Okay.
So yeah, in the space of about, I think it's 110 pages, it covers a lot of ground.
So a lot of impact despite its short size. And very different from your first choice as well.
Yeah, so different.
Yeah. But then I guess that's good. Like, you don't want 3 stories that are the exact same because
No.
you'd probably get bored pretty quick.
Oh, yeah. And we've got limited time. We need to like go on a literary journey over the course of...
Because again, you think you're perishing very
Yeah.
quickly.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I'm turning lobster red from the sun in the space of about 6 hours.
You
And
are.
then it's going to be like a tunnel to my demise.
That's so dark.
Well, no, but it's true. Like, there is no way in God's green earth that I am surviving this.
Okay.
Not a chance.
I'm not saying I would survive it either.
No, but I think you've gone in with the hopeful view of like,
I'm having a chill
help
time.
is coming.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like, help doesn't care.
Yeah, I'm like, help is coming. It can take a little while. I can relax first, you know. I've gone into a very positive mindset.
Yeah,
but
I have not done that.
no.
Cynicism for the win.
So for my second book, I went for something very different from my first. I mean, especially considering that was a non-fiction selection of essays. This, I went for a pure comfort read.
Okay.
So I chose The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood.
Oh, of course you did.
Do you not like The Love Hypothesis?
No, I do. I don't. It holds a very like nice place in my
Yeah.
heart. And I mean, if I was on the desert island and found a copy, would I read it? 100%. But that's so you.
It is. So Ali Hazelwood is my favourite author. And so it feels like it'd be only right to have a book by her. And I think especially when you're on your own on the desert island, it can get a little bit lonely, maybe a little bit sad at times. And so having something, a comforting read that you can kick your feet, giggle to,
Yeah.
like have a good time.
That's a good point. Yeah.
You know, I feel like I had to go for a romance and it just made sense to have one from my favourite author. And it's not necessarily that is my favourite Ali Hazelwood book. I really like, I think Love Theoretically and Bride, surprisingly, are probably my top 2. But The Love Hypothesis was my introduction to Ali Hazelwood.
Yeah.
And so it kind of holds a sentimental place in my heart. I literally remember picking this book up. I picked it up on a whim. I was not on BookTok as a creator at that point. But I was fully involved in watching all the videos. So I'd heard of this book. It was on like a 99p Kindle deal. I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll grab it. Like, it's a STEM romance. I'm a woman in STEM. That sounds like it could be a fun time. And so I like spontaneously picked it up, started to read it at I think 11 p.m. at night, proceeded to stay up almost the entire night reading this on a work day and finished it the next morning before work. I could not even tell you how little sleep I got that night. I work from home a lot of the time, so looking like a zombie is not too big of a deal. But I literally sacrificed my sleep, stayed up almost the whole night reading this because I just had to read it in basically one go. And so I did. I slept a little bit and finished it in the morning before work, but it was just one of those that like you pick it up and you just can't put it down.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's something about it. It's so Moorish. Like I had to know what happened next. I just fell in love with the characters instantly. I wanted to know what happens next. I couldn't put it down and like go back to it later. Like, no, I needed to know now.
And also like I reread that book every year around Valentine's Day. It's a Valentine's Day read for me. But I also think as well, if I had to be stuck on a desert island with a man, I mean, Adam Carlyle, not bad. Not bad.
Wouldn't say no.
No. That man can push cars. He can play ultimate frisbee. What more do I need?
I know. And ironically, I've actually not reread that book since I first read it. So I've been reading all of the Ali Hazelwood books in release order, and I do need to reread that. I'm not a huge rereader. I do reread some books, but to be honest, there's so many books on my TBR. There's so many things out there I want to read. I just don't spend that much time going back and rereading. So I really want to reread that one. And I did just buy myself the special edition version that's just been released.
Just stunning.
It's so pretty. So maybe I'm stuck on the desert island specifically with that special edition.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, I wouldn't want the sand and the sun and the water to ruin it, to be fair. But at least then it's so pretty.
I was going to say you're using like that pattern as part of your SOS sign in Stones.
Oh,
like,
yeah. It's got scientific patterns. For those who haven't seen it, it's got scientific patterns on the sprayed edge.
Yeah.
Bright pink, white writing. Oh, it's so cute. I love it. And I think it would just give me a little bit of joy as well to look at the pretty special edition of one of my favourite books. You know, and when you're stuck on a desert island, I feel like you've got to take those small moments of joy. And if it's looking at a pretty sprayed edge, I'll take it.
My cynicism is slowly spreading across the couch, it seems.
Is it?
Well, look at it. No, like, if I survive. You started so hopeful and there's a mental detox for you, and now you're like, if I survive the desert island.
No, I think I'm still like in a positive mindset. I think I'm also just a bit of a realist where I'm like, you know, you're going to have moments where you're a bit lonely, a little bit sad, maybe need a little bit of pick me up. And so it's like for those sort of moments where like the book for one would be great for, and also like the pretty book would be like a pick me up, because I think it's unrealistic even by my delusional self to think that like it would be a great time all the time, you know?
Cynicism for the win.
I'm still in the positive mindset.
I like that though. I must say I did go a little bit more hopeful with my third pick.
Oh, maybe my hopefulness is spreading across that side of the couch.
Not a chance. I am a black cat by nature. No. My third pick, I am trying to get you to read this book. I don't think you've read it yet, but you need to read this book.
Wait, can I guess what it is? Sure. Is it by Chloe Leese?
No.
Oh,
It's not
okay.
a romance. I've still gone like, this is more sci-fi dystopia, which is why I think it would be something that you would really enjoy.
Oh, wait, I think I know what it is. The Ministry of Time.
The Ministry of Time by Kayleen Bradley. I mean, one, it features people who are out of their depth in a new. So once again, like, protagonist is going to a new place. It's very much that fish out of water experience. But there's something about the subplot of the romance in this book as well that I find really realistic almost. Like, it's not a romanticized romance.
Okay.
It feels very much like two people fall in love because of the convenience of falling in and out of love.
Okay.
It features, obviously, time travel, the Ministry of Time.
The clue's in the name.
Yeah, the clue is in the name. And it features a series of people who were meant to perish at different points in time, who have been plucked out of that timeline and brought into our own.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. So I
love a creative concept.
Yeah. I've never read anything like it. I think it's really, really interesting. We see the whole world through one of their, I can't remember what they call them, but they're guardians almost, because they have to be taken on by someone from this time to introduce them to concepts like electricity, sewage, running water, like all of that is something that they have to overcome.
Like culture shock almost.
Yeah. So you've got women who have come from near on like the Salem witch trials, but then you've also got the kind of main male character who was part of the Antarctic expeditions.
Oh, that's so fun.
So he's meant to perish in the ice.
Ah.
And yet he has been plucked out from that moment because of essentially his leadership, his command.
So there's a reason they've each been plucked out? Or is that a spoiler?
No, like to a degree, but it's almost the convenience of how he would have gone.
Okay.
That kind of means that he gets plucked out. But we learn a lot more about the bureaucracy of time travel and...
Because everything is bureaucracy.
Oh, yeah. Everything.
Adulthood.
Yeah. Everything in adulthood is bureaucracy in some way, shape, or form. Yes. So it makes sense that in this mind-bending book where we have got time travel, we would have bureaucracy by association. Yeah. Death, tax, and bureaucracy is the three fundamentals of adulthood, is it not?
Pretty much. And constantly needing to do laundry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never ending.
100%. But yeah, I really like it. It also, the final 4 pages gives me chills every time I read it. And like, I don't have enough space, but if I could get every single word tattooed on my body, I would.
Wow.
Like,
that is
it's a big claim.
Yeah. That's a big endorsement or a strong endorsement.
Maybe that would be like, they would just find me on the desert island.
You've tattooed yourself with like
that, or I've just written it in the sand. Word by word by word by word by word.
Oh, I'd be so sad if it rained.
Your hard work. All my hard work washed away. The insignificance of life materialized.
Along with washing away your hopes and dreams.
Yeah, my hopes and dreams.
Back down the cynicism.
Yep, back down in the cynicism. I was trying to be hopeful. Look what she's done to me. She's brought me back down.
I was like, remember your place.
Yeah, remember my place. Black cat. Good. Awesome. But yeah, that would be my third pick. And I think that's a nice little like triad of
Yeah, I feel like you've gone for 3 very different books, which I think is what you would need. Again, for all the reasons we've already said.
Yeah.
You need a bit of comfort. You need something that's going to keep your mind entertained. I think that'd be so important because you think how much of our lives now are dictated by, traveling, commuting, doing chores like laundry and washing up and cleaning the house. Like all of a sudden you would have so much free time on your hands. Like you almost can't even comprehend how much free time.
Yeah.
I mean, survival skills would probably take some of that time up with searching for food, water, etc. But you just have so much more time you wouldn't know what to do yourself. So, having these books that you can delve into, and as we said, the rereadability, for me, that is like the number one thing.
Yes.
What can I read over and over again and not hate at the end of it?
Yeah. I think I know what your third book's going to be.
Do you? Okay.
Well, I don't know. I think if you...
It's completely different from the others again.
Okay. I think if you are going the direction that I think you're going...
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Jade City by Fonda Lee.
No. To be fair,
the betrayal.
That would fit all of the criteria because that is like a politically complicated, intense book with so much political intrigue and it's such a good book. And there's so much depth to it. And I think it's one of those books, I have only read it once, but I think you could reread it and see something different every time. because it's probably the book with the best world building that I've ever read. And I've only read the first book in the series. I'm going to read the second very soon. It's so good though. So to be fair, it does meet all the criteria, but I went in a very different direction.
Okay, what'd you go with?
I went with The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins.
Steam. Okay, why? Talk me through this.
So this one, again, is leaning on the comfort of a childhood favourite. We're both 27. We're of the age where we read these. I'm assuming you read it as an actual teenager.
Yeah.
Around the time, maybe not when they quite came out, but as a teenager, I probably read this around 13, 14 years old. And so it's the comfort and the nostalgia of something you loved as a teen. I've gone down that side of things. But I chose this book over other childhood favourites because of the depth. And again, the political intrigue, the same as you mentioned Jade City, the same reasons I've gone for The Hunger Games. This has a lot more depth than maybe some other childhood favourites that I loved. And obviously, all books I think can be enjoyed as an adult, even if they're childhood. I've reread a childhood favourite last year. I did consider putting the Warrior Cats book in this because that is pure nostalgia.
That is pure nostalgia.
And you know what? I think it holds up. I reread it, the whole series, the first 6 last year. I think that holds up. I had a great time as an adult, but they are middle grade books. And so I decided to give Hunger Games because, it has that more depth. It's a lot more interesting of a story, multi-layered, like you said with the Night Circus. It's so multi-layered. You can get different things from it. There's also so many theories with that sort of book as well. And so I think it's something that I could delve into and really, my mind could keep going and just, I could entertain myself.
And do you think as well, because you know the world of it, and I know you've read Sunrise on the Reaping.
Yeah, I've read all of them.
Do you think now that you've read all of those, going back, rereading the first one, you would almost have more, of a thought about, I don't know, a character that always fascinated me in the first Hunger Games was Cato.
Right. I want a careers book so badly.
Oh, yeah.
That is my number one request. I know people want a Finnick book, which I would take a Finnick book, don't get me wrong. But
I think I could do the heartbreaking.
Oh, no, it would be so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But I want a careers book because that is, I think, a topic that she has not explored yet. That sort of manipulation to the point where, they are willing. They volunteer. They know they might die, but they are so confident in their abilities. They want to volunteer. They're so close to the capital as well, but the capital is still their oppressor.
But also the question of, do they actually volunteer, or is that the propaganda that's being put out? And that would be the really interesting thing to explore in that. And that's something I think about with specifically that character in the first book, of when he has almost this flip inevitability
when he realizes
at the
he's
end.
going to die.
Yeah. When that comes to, what has happened between point A and point B?
It's almost like he's been disillusioned, isn't it?
Yes. And you've got to, my mind goes, well, what has happened to get us to that point?
Yeah. I feel like it's realizing that everything you're fighting for, everything you believed, is not real. That's how I interpret it anyway. And I think there are many ways you can interpret it. But that's how I interpreted it, is he realized that it was all a lie that he'd been fed and that he'd believed into. So that's an angle I think she's not explored yet. So that is my number one request, is a careers book. Because that is just such different themes from... Obviously, every single one of her books, she has a message. She has a theme she's trying to get across. I think with Sunrise and the Reaping, we were looking at how media is manipulated. Very topical. And so I think this manipulation by the oppressor, where you feel like you're closer to them, but you are still being oppressed by them. I would love to see how she writes that. But anyway, so
tangent, but it's
big tangent, but such an interesting topic. Honestly, I feel like I could talk for hours about The Hunger Games. I really want to reread these. I've not read them since I was a teenager. Obviously, I read Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which, controversial opinion, didn't love.
Okay.
But I did love Sunrise and the Reaping, and it just made me think I want to go back and reread the original trilogies. That is my plan for some point in the next year.
But also, if you just end up on a desert island.
Well, there's the reread.
Yeah, there's the reread.
I mean, all of these books. I said I want to reread The Love Hypothesis.
Yeah.
I said I wanted to reread Hunger Games. I would obviously reread The Anthropocene Reviewed. That's why I put it on the list. But I specifically have on my to-do list in my mind, reread those 2 books.
Yeah.
So it does make sense that I chose them.
And more likely as well that they would have been in your suitcase or in your hand luggage when you...
Oh, yeah, because you think it's a disaster is why we're there.
Oh, yeah. Aeroplane seats have ejected.
And I've just been poofed into existence.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, the 3 books I went for then, The Anthropocene Reviewed, The Love Hypothesis, and The Hunger Games, all completely different, I think, but hopefully would keep my mind somewhat sane before I perish, if we're going with your cynicism.
Yeah, 100%. And I do think, although they are all very much high escapism fantasy, they all have that almost thread of hopefulness through mine. The Night Circus, very much, it's a love story mixed with a meta game theory put together. I love it. The Petit Prince, a childhood favorite, very much a you read it when you're young, and then every time you reread it, you take a different kind of thought process from it, which I like. And The Ministry of Time, I know it's in the grand scheme of things quite new. God, it's good.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to go on the sand beaches of this deserted island, I am going to sit back clutching those 3 books.
Yeah.
And I will be very happy.
Yeah.
I'll be a crusty crustacean, but I will be very, very happy.
I think one of the reasons I chose Hunger Games as well was that resilience is such a big theme in those books. And I feel like, in my mind, again, because I was going in with a much more positive mindset, I was like, that resilience, I think, is something I would need as well.
Yeah.
And like, obviously the scenarios are very different, the Hunger Games to being on a desert island, but reading that resilience of the characters and their will to live and fight, I thought that as well would be a good message to have.
Yeah.
And then obviously, I've got the interesting topics of the Unseen Reviewed, where that's really to keep my mind super busy with all the different things you could possibly consider in that book. And then, the comfort read, the coziness of the Love Hypothesis.
I like them. And that's kind of all for us today, I think. I think we've had 2 very good lists. I think ultimately we are going to demise, but
yeah, and 2 very different lists as well, which doesn't surprise me. As I said, we do have quite different tastes in books with a bit of an overlap. And if we were on a desert island together, I'd read your books.
I'd read your books too.
I mean, wouldn't have much choice,
No.
but I would read them.
I'd have to get into nonfiction.
Honestly, if there's a book to get you into nonfiction, it is the Unseen Reviewed. Because they're short.
Essay on grass.
But it's the most interesting essay on grass in the world.
An essay on grass.
Look, don't knock it till you've tried it. I'm going to make you read this.
Yeah, you are going to make me read this book. Thank you for watching. Cannot wait to see you next week.
We upload every Wednesday, so please subscribe and follow along. You can find us on all the usual social media accounts. We have YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and you can find our podcast on all of your favorite podcast platforms.
And if you want to catch up with any of us personally, you can follow Jessica at jessicareads.books, and you can come see me on Get This Girl a Book on TikTok and Instagram.
Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.